All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's where we left off yesterday. We were dumping out the what Blueprint's currently generating here. So we've got this output. Let's see here. Did we hold on a second? Did we? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, we have this output. I'm just dumping it. It's putting things out, but as we noted yesterday, there's a couple small issues here. First, we aren't replacing properties, so that's not ideal. I'm wondering if we do some. We have to see if there's a precedent for me like doing properties and methods, or should the class just have like a body that gets replaced, and then it's smart enough to put in the properties and methods. Because right now, without this, I'm gonna have to like format this code or remove line breaks, and it starts to get a little bit weird. So I'm not sure what I want to do with properties there, which is kind of why I stopped yesterday. And it seems like a simple thing, but when you start like putting things into a stub file, you have all these placeholders and it seems simple, but if some of those placeholders are missing and you want to have nice pretty code formatted in the output, it's not so easy. So we may click around in the other templates stubs to see how that looks. And then the other thing we noticed is there's a little bit of nuance going on here with the return type. The fact that the import's being added is kind of nice. It's interesting that this isn't being added, but my guess is, again, the assumption is that we copied this code from the controller generator. My assumption is that it's probably attempting to replace the request parameter inside of there instead of just the method name, parentheses. So let's see if we can get these two things cleaned up real quick. Again, I'm not too worried about the formatting right now. We even kind of allowed for this, I think, in the output. So let's get this working real quick. For now, I'm just going to do properties, and we're just going to replace this with nothing. Again, that's not exactly what we want to do, but let's just replace that with nothing for now. In fact, I'll go so far as to say 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're at least having just the line break. We're not having any like stray spacing. So let's just do that for now. And then we're dumping out the stub. So if we do this, if we run this again, we should get a little bit closer. Yep, 2 line breaks. Okay, 2 line breaks. That's fine. So we're a little bit closer there. Let's see if we can fix this return type, because I think it's good that it's doing that. That's modern Laravel code, to have the return types when appropriate. So first, let's go fix this in our output. So here, yep, so that should be there. So we should be a little bit closer now. Oh, we're green now. Interesting. Oh, because the return type's not actually in there. Okay, so we're green. So this is what the current code expects. But again, let's fix this return type. So we have this redirect response. So that's what we're expecting. We're back to failing. Again, Mockery's crappy error messages, which someday I'll fix. I'll finish my crusade, In the true sense, like of historic the crusades, right? Weren't there like, 3 of them or something? So it's not like it happened overnight is the point. So my crusade is yet to end on Mockery. Anyway, let's get that working. Let's go to component generator and let's see where it messes with redirect. So we have this redirect statement, or well, I think really the add import is what's going to be interesting. Let's say add import. Okay, here we go, response. Okay, where do we mess with the response? Else, if redirect statement, there you go, string replace. Okay, I see what's going on here. Okay, so again, it's assuming that there's already the default is response, and now it's changing it to that. So if we go look at our controller.method stub, yes. See, again, these are controller actions. So the assumption is that you're always returning some kind of response, right? And that's not what we're doing here in Livewire. So we'll have to change the way we do the string replace here, which is really simply the name of the method. So let's fix that. Where do we mess with the name of the method? Replace method with name. Okay, so name should be fine. Where does name come from? Does it get passed in? No, it's just part of it. Okay, so name. I'm just making sure we don't override name anywhere. It doesn't seem like we do. So down here, when we string replace response stuff, this isn't in here. So this isn't necessary anymore. Instead, if statement is an instance of respond statement and statement content, then replace it with no type hint. Otherwise, we just need to kill this if statement because this doesn't need to happen anymore, which just makes an empty if statement. So I'm thinking of how to invert this logic, or if this logic even matters. So for now, I don't want to default and make these void. I don't think that's the right approach. We could check the Livewire docs, but again, I could do that off stream. I don't want to get stuck here very long. Let's just do this. The default, let's just do this. The default is null. Okay, let's get rid of these statements. If there's no content, if you just had an empty method, if statement has content. Oh, if statement is respond statement. Respond, what's a respond statement? Respond, return response, no content. Wouldn't you still be a response? I don't understand why we're replacing that with nothing, but whatever, let's get rid of that. Let's just bring this top level, pull this out, and basically say if not is null, return type. All right, so if you're a render statement, if you're a redirect, if you're some kind of resource statement, we know that you're returning something back in your response, and so we should be able to do that. Now again, there might be some Livewire specific stuff here. I feel like Livewire has its own internal redirect, and it's not necessarily an Illuminate HTTP redirect response. So again, we're gonna have to look at that. But for now, we can make this a little bit better by saying string replace name, the method name, dot that, and it has a new line, right? So if you have method name parenthesis new line, we know that you're kind of the method signature, right? We could even go so far as to put public function in front of this if we really wanted to, but I think it's going to be okay. We would replace it with the name dot, the parentheses again, colon, and then the return type. So I think this is going to get us to where we need to go. All right, we're back to green. We're actually getting the redirect response here. Okay, this is now a passing test. This is a passing test for the most basic output of Livewire. So let's kind of recap this from yesterday a little bit. Let's go to simple. And what we have here is Livewire simple. No, we just have simple fixtures. Yes, Livewire simple. Okay, here's the most basic Livewire code generation that Blueprint has currently. You say components, we got a new components section. You say the name of the component, simple component, and then you start naming methods inside of it. And by default, you're gonna get whatever method you name, the statements within it. Again, we may tweak these statements specific to Livewire in a future stream, but for now, this is the output you'll get. You'll get a component. It won't just be an empty component, as Artisan Make will do. You'll get everything Artisan Make does plus the methods you mentioned. Now there's something we're missing here that we need to do automatically, again, to be consistent with Artisan Make. So again, we just want to parallel at a minimum what Artisan Make does in the most simple, basic, the lowest bar MVP of code generation for Livewire is this, plus we need to automatically do that public render bit, right? So this, it actually completed it for us. And I would go so far as to say that this returns a view, right? Does it automatically, is it a view or is it a Livewire view? It's a view. It's a view like anything else, right? Okay, so really this is what we need to be doing. So we always, always, always want to add into the methods a render statement, right? A render method, okay? So let's make that happen. Yeah, let's make this happen. So if we go back, we should have a failing test now. Oh, don't want to do that. Okay, we're back to a failing test because of course we don't have this render action. So we got a couple options here. We could piggyback. I think what we do in Blueprint and other areas is in the lexer. I think in the lexer, when you make a component, you automatically give it a render bit of syntax, right? And it'd be very easy to recreate this ourselves, right? In fact, we could, just out of curiosity, we could go to Livewire simple. Technically, we could do render and then view and say Livewire simple component. And I think this might just work. Let's see what it outputs. Okay, the body doesn't get, is it view? I think you return view. I think. Yeah, I'm not sure why body's not getting picked up. I think view's not right. I think you return or render. No, you render the view. Sorry, it's not view, you render. There you go. See, so it's automatically passing. So that's my point about the lexer, is that I think what we do is when we're lexing a component, we automatically, if a render method doesn't exist, put this syntax into the tree for them automatically. I think that's what other areas of Blueprint do. That way the generators just work. Because the whole point of Blueprint is to kind of assume some things for you. And I think the best place to go prove and look for this is probably, we could of course look at controllers for the resource stuff. So let's go look at the controller lexer. I think it happens in the lexer. We could look at models too for like timestamps and stuff. I think it does that as well. So if the definition's set for resource, if you said do a resource, then it's going to automatically, generate resource tokens, right? So it goes in and it automatically updates the tree, I believe, with resource tokens. So you have this resource definition, you break it out, and you merge the definitions of the two together with priority of the current definition. So if you somehow said resource, if you generated a resource for a controller, but you also mentioned that a particular index method you wanted to customize, then your index is going to override the tokens that got generated. The point I'm making, though, is that the lexer kind of fills in the blanks for you, right? So you don't have to define this, right? We don't want to define that. We want Blueprint to give you some things for free. That's all about the rapid generation. I do think looking at the model lexer would be worth it as well, because I think it does some stuff in here for timestamps. So if timestamps is not set or it's set to false, it automatically disables it. I was trying to see where it like automatically added it though. I think timestamps is just built in, so that might not be the best. I think the ID column might be the other thing to look at. So if not it's set ID and model uses primary key, then automatically build the ID column for a model. So this is kind of what we're looking for here, right? So I think let's go back to our component lexer. The point here is that I don't want the generator to be too smart and automatically generate a render method. I want it to just be in the tree so the generator can stay dumb, right? We have all the things in place for it to work. We just need to push these statements into the tokens that we got. So we can do that pretty easily and then kind of backfill the test. So the point here is that, same kind of thing. If is set mount, then we do some stuff for mount, we unset it. And then I think the same thing we could do is we could just like in the controller, we could basically say merge the definition with a default render method. Exactly. Even Copilot knew what I was trying to do. Look at that. I swear it as you write more inside of a code base, not only does it pick it up, but it's actually, I would imagine it's using more things than you realize. It's not just using the code that it's analyzing inside of the IDE, but it also, look at what was in my paste buffer, the render stuff. So like it knows that I'm messing around with that. So yeah, I mean, look what it's trying to do based on what I just pasted and what in the code we've been typing. So like it's actually got the array merge more or less here. So instead of this though, that's not the exact correct statement that we would want to do. Let's go back to the controller lexer. I'm trying to see the API resource definition. Where does that come from? Generate resource tokens. What does it do? Like, does it collect? So it collects some high level stuff. It does some string replacement. Where does it get this resource tokens? I'm just trying to get a feel. Okay, here we go. It merges the entire definition, and definition is this. That is definition parsed into an array. Okay, so if we go back to our controller lecture, we could say this default render tokens is really what we could say. So let's add this method. It's a private method. It's going to return an array, and it effectively returns, and again, we may tweak this later, but it effectively returns, oh, that's not the right paste buffer. We want this. So render returns an array of statements inside of it. I think where it's render Livewire simple component. Now it's not simple component. It's going to need to know the name. So we're going to have to pass it down string name. And this is where it kind of singularizes that view name. What did we do? We did snake yesterday, right? It's snake, but with a dash. So it's snake, str, snake, name. Oh, we did more than that though. We had to like append the namespace and do, oh yeah, oh that's gross. Right now we're just gonna do the name. So let's str snake name with dashes and not underscores. I think this is what we want to do. Yeah, the delimiter is that. Okay, let's see where we get with this. Return that. Is that the, whoops. Let's just tab bankruptcy here. All right, let's go back to controller lexer. Yeah, query, and then, okay, yeah. So I was just making sure it was a nested array. That's truly what we wanted. Okay, not component generator. Component lexer. Where are you, component lexer? All these names are like starting to look the same to me. Okay, so render returns a render. Let's just break this down. Render returns render. All right, is that how it would do? Yeah, there we go. It's a little bit long-winded, but the render action returns a render statement of the default view name, which is going to be under the Livewire directory, snake case that. But again, things could be namespace. This is configurable, so I'll probably make a helper method on the component model that determines all this stuff. But for now, I think this will make this pass. So if we go back and we run our component lexer test, I would expect some failures, right? Yeah, first of all, we're not done writing our code. So we actually need to pass in the name here. All right, too few arguments, statement, lexer, analyze, render. Oh, okay, yes. Because we're getting more results now, I believe, right? It's not just the render method, or it's not just the methods we were originally testing, it's more methods. So we need to go update our test to automatically put in a render method. So let's go into this and let's kind of take a, oh, not that. Where's the test for this? There we go. Okay, so returns nothing, does nothing. It returns components. Okay, so we have update profile, we have mount, we have update. This is automatically going to return a render bit, right? I want to go so far actually now. So this one's going to demonstrate that it automatically returns stuff. Let's also do like a simple component here that maybe overrides. We'll call it override component, and let's override render to demonstrate that, yeah, that we have some kind of like custom view, right? Custom view, custom.view? No, custom view. Let's keep it simple. Yeah, that's our view name. Actually, we could leave the dot there. Custom view. It's gonna override render. This is just gonna drive out that code, that array merge code that we just wrote. So that's gonna help a little bit. So let's update our test now. Okay, so analyze should receive validate user dispatch, blah 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 blah. Analyze should receive this. Analyze. This is the statement analyzer for these methods. It also, okay, I see what's going on here. It also, for that first component, sorry, excuse me, it's also going to receive render with ideally Livewire, not override component, but this update profile. So if everything worked correctly, update profile should receive a single render bit to the analyze stuff to return the render statement. And then our other component, our override component, should get the same thing, but this one should now be custom view, and return, not render statement, but let's call it custom render statement. All right, actual components now are going to be 2. Components, actual components, update profile, assert the name. All right, cool. Assert properties 2, assert methods is now going to be 2. And then similarly, the render method is going to have a single statement with our render statement from render. And then jumping ahead a little bit, we need to copy kind of the same thing here for this whole other override component that we're doing. This is a stronger test. It's a little bit dense because we're kind of faking things out, but it would be very difficult to test the returned resource statement objects. So I think it would be more cumbersome, I should say. So let's just say this is our override component. Override components, the name, properties should be 0 because there's no properties. Methods should just be 1, and then it should be this, right? Customer, I wanted to do it again. Custom render statement. Okay, when we run this, we should be back to passing, hopefully. Nope, just kidding. Okay, which line did it not like? Line 82. Which one are you? Line 82. Actual. Did we call it custom view? Oh, custom dot view. Let's try that again. Still line 82. All right, what's no matching handler found for analyze render? We don't know what the subtext of analyze render is, so that sucks. Again, mockery. Yeah, is it? Oh, live view, live wire. Nope. Which one does it not like? Does it not like our custom.view, or does it not like the other one? I can't tell. I can't tell because mockery doesn't give you the sufficient detail for the actual error and you just got to go poke around your effing code. All right. Default render statements, Livewire. Let's see what this is returning. Maybe that's not returning. Maybe that's not returning what we expect. Oh, you know what? I think I collapsed these more than they should be. No, render custom view. That should be fine. Oh wait, it's this one, right? No, it's the same statement. It's just the innards of the statement. It's not render. It's just this. That should be fine. Let's see what we're actually passing here. Okay, let's dump definition first of all. Where am I? Where the heck? I don't know why my cursor just quit. Okay. Oh, its key. Its key is not what I expected. See, it's keyed underneath instead of top level. How did I mess that up? How did I mess that up? Array merge, default render. Oh, it's nested. Whoops. It's doubly nested. There we go. Let's try that again. Hey, look at that. See, when you write good code, it actually runs. Okay, this is expected. The render, there we go. Update dash profile. It's top level. I just had a nested array there when I wrote that. I think I copy and pasted in there too quickly. And then, of course, the next one that comes in actually preserves the custom view. So that proves out. I always forget focus mode. I don't know what my wife just said about cookies, but whatever. We'll figure it out later. Okay, let's get rid of our dump. Where's our dump? Okay, so if there we go. That's back to passing. Let's go way back to our other one. Okay. What are we actually getting out? Render, view, action. It'd be nice if those were sorted, maybe. I don't know. This is like a preference thing. Should render always be up top? I feel like mount and render, you know, all of these things that get generated are going to be public methods. So should they be alphabetically sorted, which would mean that action would come before mount and render, or should they just kind of flow in the manner in which a generated Livewire component would flow, meaning that like mount is kind of like your constructor, so it should be at the top, followed by render because everything should render something, and then your custom methods come into play. Because it's actually generating the right code here. It's really more of a matter of the order of the methods. So I think for now I'm going to make the call that they should render in Livewire order. So let's go back to our simple PHP and let's pull this up here. We have 1, 2 still. This should pass, and it does. Okay, sweet. Okay, so by default, when you come into Blueprint and you generate a component with an action or a mount here, we'll finish up here, or I'll probably finish that off stream since we already kind of worked on this for a good 30 minutes. So this is what you get. This is what you get from a very simple definition. And again, if you only want to generate a component with no methods in it other than the render method and its default locations of everything, then you would just use make Livewire because that's faster, right? It's all about speed. If the artisan make command is faster, use that by all means. Just keep doing what you're doing. This is when you want to generate and reference stuff rapidly. That's what Blueprint comes in. It's to have you type just a little bit more, the bare minimum of more of what you need to type to generate much, much more code, right? It should be, you know, a 3 or 4x multiple, like 10x, right? It's a 10x tool. So if we go look at Livewire-simple, from 4 lines, theoretically, I want 40 lines of things generated, right? So right now we got 22, so we're 5x. But that's my point, is it should be multiples higher of the definition. That's Blueprint's kind of goal. There's no set number per se, but the goal is for a very small amount of syntax, right? You get multiples higher of code generated for you. So to that point, if you just need a simple component, then type make Livewire component name. That's a certain amount of typing. It's effectively, this much typing. But for this much more, you get, all of that. So that's the goal. And I think that's what it's doing right now. So this technically would be MVP worthy, but I think I should really finish mount with the properties. I think that's kind of MVP. So that's probably where I'll tag the first version. I may continue into Monday on that. We'll see. But for now, I'm curious. I'm not going to work on this, but let's just see if everything's passing. No, it's not. We got a couple failures. Component generator test output. Oh, I'm not respecting the model namespaces yet. Of course, we haven't customized any configuration. That's going to force me to drive out some of those areas where we just kind of assumed things were snake case and in the Livewire directory and all that kind of stuff. So these failing tests are good. I think I will work on this off stream. And then I think next Monday or Tuesday, I'll do one more stream where maybe we try to get into some of the Livewire specific statements. I'll need to review the docs. Of course, if you know Livewire specific statements, things that aren't, dispatching jobs or validation or whatever, please let me know in the comments or on Twitter, because I'm glad to kind of try to support those. But I think this is pretty close for an MVP. I just want to get it to MVP, and then I can open it up to the community a bit more to add those kind of statements. But I think this, as we're seeing, this is already potentially more useful when you want to generate a custom component that does more than what the stubs give you when you run artisan make. So we're getting close. I think once the properties are in there, it's going to be really good. So. All right, everybody, thanks for joining live. Let's do another one. Yeah, let's do another one Monday. So let's do one Monday, same time, same places. See ya.